And now, the Sleephawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staten and Tyler Hansbrough.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sleephawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Dog with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. Big win for the Tar Heels. It's a great weekend. We got back on track, and we're going to talk about it. I'm ready to bring you a great podcast. Happy to be with my guy, Sleep Dog.
Here we go, guys. All-Star Week in NBA. Nobody's watching that, but everybody was watching Carolina. Dropped one to Syracuse. That was a downer. Bounced back. Pretty good win against Virginia Tech. We'll get into all that. We're going to preview UVA. We're going to talk about what it's like on this bye week. You know, we don't play again until Saturday. We'll get into some seeding conversations, given where Carolina's kind of had a little up and down. You know, where does the Big Hawk see the Tar Heels? Where can they be? Where might they be? Where does he think they're going to end up, as well as who we think the one seeds are right now? Might even touch on the dunk contest. Was pretty tough to watch. I mean, old Sleep Dog could have been one of the four people in the dunk contest, and it would have been just as entertaining. I don't think I could even touch the net. Tiger withdrew as well. Not sure we'll get to all that stuff, but definitely got a lot of college basketball to get to. But before we do, we got a big announcement, guys. Sleephawk Worldwide on the map. We are excited to be working with Autograph, co-founded by Tom Brady. Like, dude, we've hit the big time here, guys. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best college basketball content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets for diehard fans. All for doing things you already do as a sports fan, like following your team in the news, listening to this podcast, SHWW, Sleephawk Worldwide, and more. Download the Autograph app for free in the Apple App Store and use referral code SHWW. That's referral code SHWW. See you at the game. And guys, the app's cool. Legit.
Yeah, Sleep. I mean, the app is really cool. You guys go ahead, download it in the app store and use our code SHWW. But I got on there the other day, and what's really cool about it is you can pick which teams you really like in college, and you get every article, everything. You get exclusive access to a lot of different stuff. Anything you want to know about the Tar Heels, it will be in the app. It's really cool. I was actually really blown away when I got on there and looked at it the other day. I'm on there all the time looking at stuff and catching up and seeing what people are saying. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, we're pumped to be partnered with those guys. So hear a little bit more about that as we go through the show. We'll be reminding you to use the SHWW code and reminding you to download it to follow the Tar Heels, which is what we do as well. So, all right, Big Hawk, Syracuse. Bummer, you know, here we are having a little bit of like herky-jerkiness here in this part of the season, right? Not uncommon. We will get to this later, but Purdue goes down today against Ohio State with an interim head coach coaching against them, you know. So it's up and down for everybody. Kansas dropped one. Kentucky doesn't look that great. You know, again, we bounced back the Virginia Tech, you know, with a game against them. We'll get to that. But, you know, what are your thoughts on the week that was Tar Heel basketball?
Man, this is a tough one. So, you know, after the Syracuse game, I think we've lost 3 of the last 5. And so, you know, they're starting to get a little rumblings. Fans are getting a little tight. Heck, I'm getting a little tight. But you know, and what this game comes down to is I don't think that we had the defensive pressure or presence that we've had, you know, let's just say maybe 3 weeks ago. And we went to, you know, Syracuse, which historically that place is rocking. And when they fill that up with all those fans, it can be a tough place to play. Even though I've never played there, it is a tough place to play. And we talked about it. When teams have big guards, big physical guards that can really get it going, I mean, sometimes we struggle with that, and it makes us a little vulnerable. You know, the Judah Mintz kid, he's about 6'4". He's got a big body. And he had 25 points, 16 points in the second half. And also the J.J. Starling, 6'4", big guard, 23 points, 13 points in the second half. And if I'm not wrong, I think Syracuse might have shot about 62% from the floor.
Yep.
When that happens, you're not going to win. And I've said this, you're just not going to win ball games when you let teams shoot 62% from the floor. And I will say I don't think Armando had his best game. And, and we can talk about because, he did some big things over the weekend. But in Syracuse, we let those two guards get hot. They were big. We didn't have the defensive pressure or presence that we've had in prior games. But also I felt like our execution was a little off. And I've talked about this, the late game execution that we've had in, for a majority of the year actually has cost us some games. You can look at the Georgia Tech game. You can look at even Kentucky. And, we did kind of claw our way back, but we didn't execute when we needed to make plays and when we really needed to put points on the board to really get over that hump. And I really thought late in the game we struggled to score a little bit against Syracuse. And I've said this, it looks like sometimes we struggle with the zone. And, I think Syracuse, even though, no, this isn't the Boeheim zone all, zone everything at all costs, we'll never do anything but zone. But the zone, they hit us with the zone, and we kind of struggled at times with that. And we put this was kind of an odd offensive strategy. You put Cadeau, because he's such a good passer, you would put him in that four-man position with the two bigs inside and kind of put him around the free throw line. And Syracuse wasn't really guard. They were daring Elliott to shoot kind of that mid-range, and Elliott still got to the rim, and he made some great passes. And, I think it's actually a pretty good scheme because what you do is you put Harrison Ingram, one of our best shooters, you put him on the perimeter, and you allow him to shoot the three. And then once those guys get hot, Cormac didn't have his best game. When guys get hot from the outside or start making shots, it's going to pull that zone out. And it's going to open a lot of things up. And we missed a lot of shots, which allowed Syracuse to really sag in and really give Armando a lot of trouble. But I did think Elliott did some good things. He got close to the rim. He made some good passes. But, this game was pretty simple for me. I didn't think we played great defense. They shot well. They got hot, and we didn't execute. And that, to me, was a formula for us losing, and that's kind of was the whole script for Syracuse.
This is what was interesting to me. This is an interesting box score. A lot of times the box scores can be misleading, but I don't think this one is. It tells a lot of stories. I mean, you called it right out of the jump. Syracuse shoots 30 of 48. That's 62.5% from the field. They shoot 8 of 17, 47% from three, right? They have 10 steals. So as Carolina has 11 turnovers, and that comes on 10 steals. So it's weird because, like, on one hand, a lot of times turnovers are like boneheaded plays, some of them, right? I mean, but when you got 11 turnovers and 10 of them because the other team stole the ball. I mean, you mentioned that we didn't play great defense. Well, they did, right? They only turned the ball over 8 times. They also only committed 11 fouls. And we had some guys, we had 3 of our starters with 4 fouls to close out the game. So, and the other 2 had 3. So 20 fouls. And honestly, I think some of them it was a little like, look, as a fan, I think there were a couple calls that you're feeling kind of iffy about, but it didn't seem like the narrative didn't really seem to be like, the stripes were costing us. And look, you got a guy, like you said, those guys got hot, especially in the second half. We didn't look good to start the game. We close out the first half and tie it up. I think we were down, might have been down double digits at one point in the first half. And then they just kind of smacked us around in the second half. I mean, those guys got hot, like you said, and pulled away. And, I think most people say, hey, how do you beat a team by 36 and then turn around and lose to them? And I mean, I think we're going to get into this a little bit later, but everybody's down on the ACC, but you go up and down the list of the teams and you got about 3 just bottom feeders. And then you got some teams with crappy records that are on any given night, pretty good teams. I was looking before we got on here, and Georgia Tech's won. What did I say? They won
They beat Duke at home.
Georgia Tech has won 4 games this season. Okay. They are next to last they've won 4 games in conference. They're 11-15. They've beaten 3 ranked teams. That is, aside from us, that is more wins against the AP top 25 than anybody else in the conference. And they're next to last in the conference. So, I mean, look, it's an imperfect sort of, any team, any night, for the most part, can beat anybody. And it's, am I trying to make chicken salad out of it? Maybe. I mean, look, we've lost, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, and then we got Virginia coming up, which we'll preview here shortly. But yeah, I mean, sometimes there is just nothing else, no sense to make out of it, dude. It is what it is. So we bounced back against VT, and looked pretty good doing it. So that was home game.
Yeah. And, to me, the story of this game was when I watched the game, I thought we dominated the game from the inside. I thought Armando was great. Armando, he was aggressive. He demanded the ball. He got the other team's bigs in foul trouble. And you could see at times where Armando was like, hey, get me the ball. And I know a lot of people sometimes think, hey, we got to get Armando more touches. Hey, listen, that's not just on the team. Also, you got to put yourself in good position to get the ball. And also, I thought Armando was really active. I thought he ran the court really well. And when he wasn't getting the ball, I thought the simple fact that he was running the floor so well that he was getting other teammates open and allowed, to really open things up outside. And also, Cormac played well. I thought Cormac came out and he's been taking a little bit of criticism from the fans, and sometimes you look at things and, you have a tendency to kind of get mad at one player, but I don't think so. I think Cormac does a lot for this team. And also, he had a big game against Virginia Tech. I thought he played well. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy, he has a quick trigger, I'll tell you that. I mean, sometimes this guy is shooting the ball before he even catches it, which I think is comical. But no, I really do think that we came out physical. We came out tough. We played defense. We got back to our defensive principles. And also, we pushed the ball. I thought we played with great pace. I thought we made a concerted effort to really push and run. I think that was it. But also, we executed late in the game. We made big plays. We made plays when we needed to make plays when they went on a little run. But no, I thought this was a great win, and especially, after, you're starting to catch a little bit of heat because, some people thought we might be slipping or, they're not playing like the team they used to be. In reality, to me, the one thing that I'm not liking is a lot of people are saying we had a letdown against Clemson at home, which arguably we could have. Mm-hmm. But Clemson's a really quality team. They have one of the best bigs in the country. And Shefflin does a very good player. Joe Girard's one of the best shooters in the country. Mm-hmm. Clemson is a very good team. Mm-hmm. And I do think if we don't come to play, even if we don't even play well, we lose to Clemson. It's not the fact that, we had a letdown, which we did, but also we had a letdown against a very good quality team that's going to be in the tournament and has the potential to go on the run. I really do believe that. They have, outside of those 3 players I just mentioned, Hill, Shefflin, and Girard, they have other big-time athletes and big bodies that are physical and they can play. I think they're well coached too. So I didn't really like that narrative, but it doesn't help when we go to Syracuse and lose. And then you start to hear a little bit more of that. And, I really felt like we got back on track against Virginia Tech in the Smith Center. I was there. I witnessed it. I thought we really played well. And, the team spirit was there. It looks like guys were really feeding off each other. And I thought it was good to see. And also, Harrison Ingram's been playing unbelievable. Gosh. I think he had 17 rebounds. I thought it was just a great win for us.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like I think that the root cause is we just hadn't been shooting the ball that well over the last 5 or 6 games in a couple nights, right? Like even a couple of the wins we wound up pulling out We didn't shoot the ball particularly well. Against Syracuse, we shot the ball better, but like you said, we didn't defend well enough to win. And then, you go back to the Virginia Tech game and, we shoot the ball much better, but still not shooting it great from beyond the arc. I mean, I think Cormac had at least 2 of his threes in the first half and finished 4 for 7, but was 4 for 11 overall. You got Harrison missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts, and he's been pretty reliable. Cadeau missed 2. RJ's 3 of 8, right? When we're good, these guys are hitting. And the thing of it is shooters slump. They always do. So, I mean, listen, like especially college shooters. And so in a weird way, man, and we're not losing these games by a boatload. We're going out on a couple of these games where we can't seem to throw the ball in the ocean. Got guys just dropping 25, 30 against us. And we're still, I mean, these are still close games. And you mentioned it, and that's where I was going, is Harrison Ingram, dude. He's one of he's establishing himself to me as I wish this guy had been here all 4 years. I mean, 17 boards. And the thing of it is Carolina had 14 offensive rebounds, and 9 of them came from Baycott and Ingram. In that first half, it seemed like, dude, every time the shot was missed, we got the rebound. Mm-hmm. And, we had 43 boards against Virginia Tech. And, you're going to do well for yourself if you're pulling all – man, every time ESPN loves just playing the progressive turning into your parents commercials. It just pops up on my computer sometimes. I think
those commercials are hilarious.
Oh, they're great, man. And definitely remind me of myself. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me is, look, these guys start getting into a rhythm again and playing through sort of a couple down games where they're not shooting the ball well. See the ball go through the hoop. We get back on the right side of, say 40% from behind the arc or close to it. I think we'll be a real tough team to beat again. I mean, we're going to see that. We're going to find out when we go to Virginia. But yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a great bounce back. And mercy, man. They just don't want to see all these commercials. Yeah, so I like where we're at. I'm not unhappy with it at all. So
no, I think now that we have the bye week leading into Virginia, I do think this bye week is beneficial if you use it the right way. Mm-hmm. And kind of put a closing on the Virginia Tech game. I just felt like we got back on track, and my mind is at ease. Mm-hmm. That this team, that was just this team is aligned. We're still progressing and growing as a team, and I still like the direction and the trajectory that this team is headed for the tournament. And so the Virginia Tech game gave me confidence to say that, and I thought we played extremely well, and also we dominated them. But this, we kind of talked about it in the beginning, is this bye week where you have this, a significant amount of time to actually get rest, heal from injuries before, you're saying nothing good happens in Virginia. And, Virginia, they're a tough team to play, and you've got to be disciplined against Virginia. We are by far the most talented team, but they play a style of basketball that just makes you want to pull your hair out. And you've got to be ready for that. And when you talk about a bye week or a team, especially in college, that has a significant amount of days of rest before a game, you start to worry if guys are going to come out flat. And it's pretty normal, but I think what you do in the bye week to really make it beneficial, listen, we've got some guys who've had some injuries. Seth Trimble's been kind of in and out of the lineup lately. But also, I can't really put it, there hasn't been anything said, but Armando doesn't seem like – it seems like his legs are just a little bit tired, or he just needs some rest. I can tell you as a big man, the season can get long, and having to bang and run the floor, that's tough. That's not easy. And the bigs, it's the most physical part of basketball, and Armando is a physical player. So he's going to get some much-needed rest. I do think that to begin these first few days, I think you really focus on individual skill. I think you focus on bringing attention to, injuries or certain little things that might be nagging to kind of prepare you and get ahead of something that could potentially bother you later on down the road. And also, a lot of people talk about this, but you got to get in the weight room. There's not a lot of time during the season where you can really work on your body, work on your strength, and all that, I think, has a big factor in the staying healthy and preventing injuries. When you can get in the weight room, work on your body, and get your body right and a little bit stronger, it's very difficult to do that during the season. I think that has massive rewards, and there's not a lot of times you can do that. But I think you use that the first 3 days. That's the way I'd handle it. Then leading up to it, I would start having some hard practices. I would do a lot of competition. I would do a lot of scrimmaging, just because this is one of those times where you could potentially get a little bit out of shape, and you've got to have that feel of running up and down the court. You've got to have that feel of getting hit, getting bumped, but also you've got to breathe hard. And it's a different feeling when you come off an injury. This is the only thing I'm comparing it to, is when you come off an injury and you've had some time off, and you're not out of shape, but you're not like in shape. You just need to get going to get it going a little bit more, and then you're good. And that's what, a lot of people talk about coming out flat. To me, that's what, I would say flat really means is, hey, these guys just hadn't been up and down in a few days, and they got to get that feel back. That's why I think competition, getting after it, guys doing a little scrimmaging in practice. I'm old school. I like that. I think it's good. And you don't get a lot of time to really work or have quality practice during the season because you're traveling, you're playing games, guys are injured. So I think this is a valuable time.
And Virginia is an awfully good team. They are 9-1 in their last 10. They lost to Pitt. Pitt, I think, is 4th in the conference right now. And then they've lost at NC State, at Wake Forest. They are, 5-6 in the conference. They did lose at Notre Dame. But that's a long time ago.
That's a really bad loss.
Yeah, that's a bad loss. But, that's December 30th. So there's all kinds of college explanations for that one. So, and as if Virginia's not a good team anyway. They're well coached, very structured. To your point, thank goodness this game is at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Look, if it wasn't the Tar Heels, it is prime nap time. Because to your point, sometimes you got to hold your finger up in front of your face, in between your face and the TV, just to make sure those guys are moving on offense. Good grief. The Croatan Cougars out there trying to put the ball in the bucket. It's like drawing blood. But they are, they are who they are. They're a good team. By the time the rankings come out next week, they'll probably be right around the same place. We should probably be somewhere around 12 to 15 coming off that Syracuse loss. So, this is going to be a tough place, a tough one for us. Are we there? Or where?
Yeah, we're at Virginia.
Gosh, man, everything in Virginia, man, whether it's football, basketball, probably pickleball, it doesn't matter, man. You always have a hard time playing those guys down there. They're disciplined, I think, is the biggest thing. They're committed to their style of play. And one of the things I think that really fascinates me about Virginia, as boring as it is to watch, how they're able to dictate the pace. They're going to force their style of play on you, and you've got to be able to handle that. So I would imagine that if you're going to have a bye week, in addition to all the things you just said, I would imagine that getting it before you're going to play a sort of shock to the system opponent like Virginia that slows the ball down, a lot of half court sets, a lot of defending the full shot clock, right? It gives Hubert and the coaching staff a good amount of time to focus in on that and, help prepare for some things maybe that they're not going to see. Hell, all I got to go on is high school. But I remember in high school, sometimes you run all these different sort of offensive and defensive schemes that you have in your like playbook, but you only ever run about half of them. And usually you're trying to dictate what's going on. But I imagine with a team like Virginia Tech, with like a team like Virginia, do you think they'll spend time? Are they going to get other looks that they're not used to seeing? it's more complicated than just, they run a half court set, isn't it?
Yeah. And let me just say this. How do I prepare for this team? Listen, I don't start preparing for Virginia. We play on Saturday, maybe Friday. And the reason I say that is we're a better team. So if we go up there and we have a good version of us, we're going to win. But you've got to know who you're playing, and you've got to know their strengths, and you got to know how to handle that, or you could be the worst team and still lose. I always like this time where you have a significant amount of time. Hey, let's hone in our craft. Let's get better at what we do, and let's not worry too much about Virginia, even though Virginia is kind of an anomaly and they're a different style and we don't see this regularly. It's going to be a good challenge. So on Friday, before we play them, kind of usually what you have is you have that scout. You go over some clips. I'm not sure how they're going to do it with this bye week, but I will say you start focusing on that. But the reason why I've always kind of looked forward to this game since Tony Bennett has gotten to Virginia is because historically we've been a very fast-paced team, and Virginia is very slow. Mm-hmm. And in a way, it's a clash of two different styles. And I want to see who's going to win that. I want to see, hey, are we going to go up there and we're going to make them play with us, or are we going to slow it down and play their style? I just think who's better at whose style is going to win. But I will say, Sleep, Virginia, why I don't like slow basketball is because Virginia is not used to playing from behind. So in my opinion, if you get a lead on Virginia, significant, like a decent lead, they really become vulnerable because then they have to speed it up. They have to try to come back from being behind, and that style is not really productive to what they want to do. They want to slow it down. They want to make you guard and play defense for the whole shot clock and really kind of beat you down and get a high-quality, high-percentage shot, and then that makes teams it can be exhausting, but that's what they want to do. But when you get a big lead and you jump on them from the get, it makes them vulnerable. And, the tournament is kind of evidence of that. Last year they had they kind of got upset, I think. And then obviously they were the first team to ever lose to a 16 seed. So that's what I would really focus in on, Sleep, is like trying to get out, trying to get that big jump on them. And, I think that if we do that, I think that's the key to this game. But also I think we're a better team when we run, and we've got to play defense because this team's success is going to be dictated by its defense and how they play defensively going forward in the future. And, that's been this whole year. When we've had some losses early on, especially against UConn. Now, after we lost to UConn, we became a totally different team. We honed in on our defense, and we became tough and physical defensively, and one of the best defensive teams in the country. And then we started winning games and going on these streets. Guys are looking good. That's why I think it's such a key. But in particular against Virginia, I think it's going to be dictated by the pace. You've got to push the ball, and you cannot play Virginia basketball because they're much better at that style than we are.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina has 11.5 point differential on the season on average. So I'd be interested to know where that ranks. And to your point, UVA, you bring up a great point, I think. UVA gives up 58 a game, just shy of 58 a game. And in their losses to Pitt, they give up 74. To Wake, they give up 66, but they only score 47. Wow. They give up 76 to NC State and only score 60. They give up 77. They give up 65. These numbers don't jump off the page, but in a game where the possessions are limited, giving up 20 points more than average is a recipe there. And you're right, because, you're going through and look at a lot of these wins, 69-52, 65-53, 66-65. God, Miami scored 38 against them. Yuck.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, it does. It's an interesting sort of outlook. And Carolina can definitely, I feel like early in the game, right, before they have a chance, before anybody has a chance to settle in, play good defense, force some missed shots, get out on the run, make some baskets. And I think that number, to your point, is 10 or 12. It's not 20, and it makes the game a lot longer when the possessions are limited. So yeah, it'll be a really big challenge. And other than the Duke game to close out the season, and we got Miami at home, State at home, and Notre Dame at home following that. So, I mean, that's really the biggest, State's nothing to laugh at. Miami's not a bad team, but I'd say Virginia and Duke definitely represent the two biggest tests that we have the remainder of the season, both of which are on the road, of course. So brings me to my next point, which is seeding. Let's talk a little bit about that. So, right now, Carolina's going to come out. This is Sunday. By the time this pops out, you guys will already know where Carolina is in the AP. But 7, you lose it. You lose the game to at Syracuse. You come back with a win at Virginia Tech. I got to figure we're 12. Somewhere in that range. I don't know who lost ahead of us or behind us or what have you, but so it's tough to see us as a 1 seed now, obviously. But what do you think we have to do to get there? And I guess who do you think the 1 seeds currently are? I mean, Purdue just lost today.
Yeah, I think Purdue's pretty secure. I think they could actually lose a couple more and probably still have it. But to your point, Purdue has been one of those weird teams. Purdue, early on, they had one of the best strength of schedules in college, and they beat some big-time teams. But I will say this.
I didn't realize they'd only lost twice.
Yeah.
So that now 3 times. Okay.
Now, Sleep, if I recall, just off the top of my head, I think they lost at Northwestern and then lost at Nebraska, right? Before today, they lost against Iowa State or Ohio State, which Ohio State just fired their coach. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when guys don't like coaches, what's the best way to get the spirit up? Hey, we fired the coach. You guys better play now because you can't blame anybody else. Purdue, I think, is so when I look at the 1 seeds right now, who a lot of people are saying, hey, listen, it's a lock. I would say Purdue and UConn locks for number 1 seeds. I mean, what UConn did to Marquette over this weekend, and Marquette is a quality team. Some people were talking about them possibly being a 1 seed.
They were 4.
It's unbelievable how good UConn is right now. It's actually kind of scary. So Purdue, UConn, Houston, and Arizona are who a lot of people are considering the 1 seeds right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, am I a believer in Houston? No. Mm-hmm. Have I ever been a believer in Houston? No. I don't know what it is. I'm not a believer. I know they have players. They play physical, hard defense. I just think that being in the Big 12, they're new to the conference, and they're not used to that type of scheduling. I think it's going to cause some issues, and I could see there's some slippage there. But also, when I look at Arizona, they don't have any quad 1 win game. They don't have any quad 1 games left in the whole year. So any loss is going to hurt them. They don't have the opportunity to really build a strength of schedule. So they're not even going to benefit from really winning some of these games. They're just going to hurt themselves by losing to, anybody, quad 2, quad 3 team. So I think we could slip in to one of those.
Shout out Hermie.
Slip ins. Hermie, we're gonna send you a bill for that. But I really do think our opportunity for a 1 seed would be to sub in for Houston or Arizona. I could see those teams taking a little decline, and us just, if we take care of business, moving on in there. And I just kind of looked at the schedule a little bit right now. Just looking at our resume, and I think this is through February 17th, we are net ranked. We're the 9th team in the country. So obviously it's hard to really make a case for a 1 because there's probably some other teams in front of us, according to the net, which I'm not a big fan of the net. So we're 5-4 against quad 1s, 6-1 against quad 2s. But we're 4-1 in quad 3s, which when you have a quad 3 loss, which is Georgia Tech, and I think they're much better than a quad 3 team, it really hurts your resume.
Yeah.
So I do believe if we didn't lose at Georgia Tech, we'd probably be a number 1 seed. And also we're 5-0 against quad 4s. So I do like our records against, quad 3 and quad 4s. except for that loss. Obviously, when you have a loss in either one of those quads, it's pretty tough. But we have 2 quad 1 games left at Virginia, at Duke. We have 1 quad 2 game left against Miami. That's at home. Then we have 2 quad 3 games, NC State, Notre Dame.
NC State's a quad 3?
Yeah, NC State's quad 3 as of now. You know, it's a very fluid situation, this quad thing. I feel like I'm back in school meeting somebody at the quad. All right. Sleep. The reason why I could see us slipping is because NC State to me is a rival, and I don't really think rankings mean that much because there's so emotions and players play so hard, and a lot can happen. That one, to me, I see, even though we're a much better team than NC State, we've been a much better team throughout the whole year.
Sure.
We have more talent. We're better in every aspect, but they are a rival. And, you know, sometimes those teams can beat you, and it happens. That, to me, is kind of a scary situation. And also, I'm not sure if that's home or on the road. I think it's home, actually.
Yeah, that one will be at home.
Yeah, so I like that. We play well at home. I think we've only had 1 conference loss at home against
Which
Clemson.
was Clemson, yeah.
Yeah. And Clemson's a quality team. We talked about that. I like us at home. I wish we could take the Smith Center on the road with us at times. But no, I do think if obviously we're projected according to KenPom, which, hey guys, I'm not a big KenPom guy. I just use it when it backs up my argument. Listen, we're projected to win every game going forward except for at Duke. And we're a better team than Duke.
Yeah.
And we can go get that dub at Cameron and do the old sweep, regular season sweep, which I love. And that never gets old to me. So, I mean, we could win out. We are a 1 seed, but also there could be some slippage. NC State, Duke's going to be a hard game at Duke, but you know, sometimes
you got to get past Virginia. You know?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not even those teams. You know, the Georgia Techs of the world can get you. So
I know. As long as we don't, that Notre Dame one is really the one that you're looking at.
I hate to even mention that.
That one will be. And then you got to remember too that you got the conference tournament after that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you get on a roll here, and I think this team, if they shoot the ball well, they're going to get on a roll. And to your point, I could definitely see it if somebody else is on a roll, but I could definitely see it if Carolina wins out. You know, you have 6 losses, so somebody could definitely be, you know, a Houston or something like that. Look, I mean, if they've got 3 losses or something at that point, look, there's an argument to be made. But then you go, there's a lot of games left. What do you got to? So you get a first round and a second round bye. What do you have to have 3 wins to win the ACC championship? So you could potentially have 8 games left in the regular season. It's a lot of games. Anything can happen.
Yeah. So there's a lot of happening going on, and we've talked about it. And I don't want to touch too much on it. I hate conference tournaments.
Oh yeah, dude, they're the worst.
I'm not a fan of it. Not many teams have the ability to win their conference tournament and then go on and win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think guys play more games in a short amount of time than they've played all year. And then you expect to go to the biggest stage in the tournament, and you lose 1 game and you're not on, and your season can be over. That's what I don't like about it.
But for fans, dude, especially fans in North Carolina, like there's nothing like it, dude. It's spring. It's like your whole childhood is reminiscent of them wheeling that TV. I don't even know. I can only imagine. I guess I'll find out here in a few years. But when they used to wheel the damn TV in on the cart and turn that sucker on, man, teacher was like,
oh, I love those days.
You know, and it's funny because now, you know, we're like older and we know a few folks that are teachers, and you sort of always thought a teacher was like, you know, this person of just like all they did was teach. And then you kind of get to know a few and you're like, I wonder if my teachers were at these places on the weekends. And they must love it. What I'm getting at in a very roundabout way is they must love it too, because they're like, finally, I just wheel that shit thing out. Principal ain't gonna say nothing. Other teachers ain't gonna say nothing. Their parents ain't gonna say nothing. And for the love of God, the kids ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna sit there and just just be happy with it. So it's just a reprieve for everybody for an entire week. But you're right. I mean, in order to win, if you really think about it, win a conference championship and a national championship, you got to win 8 games in a row. If you were, obviously you're probably going to be the top seed, one of the top seeds in your conference. I mean, look, man, the chips are stacked again. You got to go on an 8-game win streak.
Yep.
To win it all. So, I mean, you start thinking about it that way, and then as a fan, it sort of makes you go crazy because a little superstition. You're like, man, that's a tough thing to do going on a streak like that.
Sleep, I will say the conference tournaments that I do enjoy are like the mid-majors where they've got – dude, hey, guys, if you're not really the ACC tournament this year is in D.C., so they're bringing it back to North Carolina, which it should always be in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Should be in the Smith Center, but Greensboro is good enough for me. But guys, the mid-major conference tournaments where they get an automatic bid.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids play so hard, and it is so fun to watch, and the fans are so into it. It's almost it's amazing to watch, and that's what I like about conference tournaments. Yeah, it's not necessarily the fact that, oh man, hey, Notre Dame, man, they sucked all year and they went out and won the ACC. I don't like really that stuff. I like the fact that these mid majors battle and fight so hard. Oh, dude, it's great basketball. That's what I love.
Yeah, dude, that stuff is. You're right. That stuff's great, and always somebody comes out of there. I've had my eye on old Cincinnati, our boy Wes Miller. I was looking at their record the other day, and they're kind of far down the conference standings, but I looked at dude, they've had some really good wins and they've played some really tough opponents. And it seems like they have lost every game that they've lost against a good team by 2 points. And I hope they wind up in the tournament. I always hope Wes succeeds.
I'm pulling for Wes. Obviously, it works hard, and Cincinnati plays hard too. So if you guys want to watch Cincy play, they're good. They're a fun team to watch. They got a decent resume. They're 3-6 in quad ones. So,
but those 6, that's what I'm getting at. I was looking at their schedule the other day. Those 6 are crazy. The amount, how close. Oh, I know. Is this football that I'm looking at? Dang. That got me on the football.
So they lost to Baylor, which is, they lost by, it's 62-59, close one. Then actually they played Kansas pretty close in Lawrence at Fogg, which nobody wins at Fogg. Even UConn lost at Fogg. So they played them. It was 69-74, and they barely lost to Houston, which, boy, they got hosed by their refs on that one.
Yep.
It was 62-67. And then actually they lost to Iowa State, which, by the way, guys, Iowa State is a great team. And also they could be a team I think could sneak in and actually get a 1 seed if some of these other teams slip and we don't do our work. Keep your eye on Iowa State. Iowa State has the ability to go on a deep tournament run. They play some of the best defense in the country. They play really hard. They're really well coached. They're a veteran team, and they've had some big-time wins. So if you're looking for some sleepers out there or you want a good bet on Iowa State.
Dude, so I'm going to run through it. Xavier was a pretty good team early in the season. I don't know if they are anymore. All right. Bad loss against Dayton. This is Cincinnati. They lost 82-68 at home against Dayton. That's a bad loss, right? But then they lose by 1 at 20. They beat number 12 BYU by 11. On the road, and all these rankings are at the time of the game. They beat 25 Texas, they lose to 25 Texas by 1. They lose to 14 Baylor by 3. They beat 19 TCU. First of all, dude, every damn game they played is against a ranked opponent. They beat 19 TCU. They lose to hell, I got my glasses on. Either 15 or 16. The font's so small I can't tell. By 4 to Oklahoma. They lose at Kansas, like Big Hawk just said, by 5. They lose against West Virginia. That probably ain't too hot, but only by 4. They beat 15 or 16. Again, I can't tell the difference. By Texas Tech by 3. They lose by 5 to Houston. I'm sorry, to number 5 Houston, and then they lose by 9 to 10 Iowa State, which I agree is a really good team. It's like I was looking at their schedule the other day. I'm like, bro, do they play anybody that's bad? I don't think so. So anyway, it kind of sucks for them because they are way down the list in the Big 12. But golly, man, I think everybody in the Big 12 has been ranked at some point this season.
Big 12 is a gauntlet.
Wow.
And there's a lot of tough road games in that conference. I mean, it is a beast. Ain't nobody winning at Fog Allen.
Guys, we talked about it a little earlier. We got the sponsorship going on, the partnership with Autograph. You guys got to check the app out, all right? It's founded by Tom Brady, which I heard. Hey, listen, man. Me, Tom, Big Hawk, we all got a little in common. By little, I mean very little. But anytime anybody says something about Tom Brady, my ears perk up. So Tom started this app. So he had one mission in mind to change the fan experience for the better. The Autograph Fandom Rewarded app allows devoted fans to unlock the most memorable experiences and rewards. You get best college basketball content, all this stuff's in one place. You can get ranked, you can level up, you can earn points for watching, reading, just following your favorite team. You just download the app, use the Sleephawk, SHWW, Sleephawk Worldwide promo code when you do that, and you get like accrue points. And over time, you get rewards, and they're coming out with some pretty cool stuff. So make sure you check it out. Like I said, we're involved with it because we really believe in it. I think it's a really cool app. And I think here pretty soon, everybody's going to be onto it, but they recently launched it in North Carolina. So you'll probably be seeing a lot more about it. It's a great way to stay involved with the Tar Heels, great way to support them, great way to support us. So please download the Autograph app, use this code SHWW.
Yeah, and Sleep, what's so great about this app is you don't have to go all over the place to read different blogs or different articles. You can get on the app. You can read everything you want to know about North Carolina basketball right there on the app. You just scroll. Everything's on that app. Autograph. It's a high-quality app, guys. You won't regret it. Use our code SHWW. You'll love it. Believe me. Trust me. This is a real deal.
We got the link in our YouTube subscription or whatever description. We got the link in our podcast description. If you're having trouble finding it, you can DM us. We'll send you the link directly. There's a link in our Instagram. We'll post it on our Twitter. We'll have it everywhere, so it's easy to find. Even if it's not up here, the last thing we're going to get to, Big Hawk, is I can promise you anything about this app, no matter what your thoughts are about it. I promise you it's better than the slam dunk contest over the weekend. I mean, did you even watch it? Because all I saw were highlights mostly. And God bless Mac McClung. But dude, if that's the best the NBA can offer, they need to put the dunk contest out to pasture, dude. Jaylen Brown got booed. Did you see his dunk when he tried to do the D Brown and then put his arm in his head in his arm after he dunked the ball?
Nah, man. Here's the thing is
this, dunk, by the way, coming from a dude that, I don't think I could touch the net on trampoline, by the way.
The dunk contest has lost its value. And I think the reason it has is because they've gone to this time situation. Nobody wants to see people miss dunks. I think they should be, kind of the old school, the pressure was dude, you got to make it. Don't try to do an impossible dunk 11 times and on the 12th time, make it and expect to get a great score. You put us through. That was unbearable to watch you miss that many dunks.
Yeah.
Sorry. Stop letting these guys get out there for 5 minutes and miss 1,000 dunks. I don't even watch it anymore, Sleep.
It's tough. I'm telling you, man, one of my all-time dream Sleephawk Worldwide guests ruined it forever. And when Vince, I don't care what anybody says, been some decent ones since. There's some good ones. Aaron Gordon, you can talk about Dwight Howard, or I wasn't a big fan of Nate Robinson, but there's some entertaining ones, right? But for me, Vince Carter's dunk contest was the end of it, because the other piece of it is the part of the reason why guys miss so many dunks now is because there's so much pressure to come up with something someone's never seen before. And to me, it's not about that. To me, it's not about something someone's never seen before. It's just executing the sort of like what Vince Carter did. That 360 windmill, in my opinion, is the greatest dunk I have ever seen in my entire life. And it was because of it was poetry, dude. I mean, it was flawless, even from the ball. If you watch that, and everybody's seen it a million times, and there's a couple other great ones he had, but even the ball going through the net and the net just coming up perfectly through the rim, dude, and it was just effortless and everything, full extension and all that stuff. Like, what you want to see is these guys just be the freak athlete that they are. And of course, like, you've never seen LeBron in there. You've never seen like some of the better players. Cause look, man, these guys are worth way too much money to then blow their ACL in a dunk contest. I mean, I thought Kuminga would have been a great ad for the dunk contest, but his thing was, hey dude, like, I don't do a bunch of flashy stuff. Like, I just tomahawk dunk, bro. Like, that's what my game is. So like, I don't think there's enough appreciation for just like a gravity defier. Everybody feels like they got to do somersaults and jump over somebody tall and do tricks and all that. I mean, I want to see the dude that just cups one from the jump circle. And it's just like, wow. Like, I've seen it before, but I ain't seen it in a while, you know, and I'm with you, man. I think there's a lot of like Zion would have been great. I would have loved to see Zion in the dunk contest. But you're just not going to get those guys anymore. You're not going to get the great players, and you either got to get them young, or if you're going to go the McClung route, just let guys out, let street ballers come do it, man. I'm down with that. You know, show me some guys. There's a lot of guys that can dunk that ain't in the NBA, so I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sleep. I mean, it's lost its value. I don't tune in anymore, but to me, I know you really mentioned the Vince, and I thought Vince was great, but the iconic picture where MJ was in it with his gold chain, and then I think of Dominique Wilkins, the battles him and MJ had in the dunk contest. Those are iconic. Yeah, and then also the picture where MJ is kind of cradling the ball.
Dude.
And has the poster. That is one of my all-time favorite MJ. Pictures and posters. Yeah, I love that.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, look, I'm not saying that. I just felt like I saw Vince live, and I'll never forget. I was like, this dude came out with that windmill on the first one too.
Oh, I know. It was unbelievable.
Wow. I got the All-Star game on over my shoulder. It's probably the first quarter is probably 188 to 179 right now. This game everybody played on defense. I don't understand why people watch it, but the LED court was cool. I really feel like the LED court could be the move for the NBA. But anyway, guys, download the app, use the SHWW promo code. We'll share the link. Get your crab cakes. It's about that season. I think it's crabs. It's always crab season up there at Jimmy's. We appreciate his support, their support as always. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.